Hello everyone, I am Dr. Wasim Sheikh. In today's video, we will be discussing about the methods for strengthening of metals, also known as the strategies for strengthening metals. So there are total 4 strategies which are there for strengthening of metals. In today's video, we will be discussing 2 strategies. The first one is by reducing the grain size and the second one is by solid solution strengthening. So let us start. So the first method is by reducing the grain size of the material. So by reducing the grain size, we can increase the strength of the material. Let us see how we can do that. So in an earlier video, we saw the Frank Reed mechanism, and then we saw that how the dislocations are multiplying internally and they are helping for the deformation of the material. Now imagine that these dislocations, they don't have a way to move further and they are piled up at one particular location. Then what will happen? So basically what will happen is you will need more force. You will need more force to overcome these dislocations and the movement of the dislocation, so that these dislocation will move further and the deformation will happen. If these dislocations are arrested at one place and they are not able to move further, even after you are applying too much of stress, that means the material has more strength. So the material has more strength and you will need more force to overcome this barrier and then move further. And we know that dislocations are moving internally in the grains, and one thing that stops the movement of dislocations is the grain boundary. So the fundamental behind reducing the grain size and increasing the strength is such that when you reduce the grain size, the grain boundary area increases. So you can imagine when there are too many grains, there are too many grain boundaries, and more number of grain boundaries, more hindrance to the movement of dislocation. That is the basic thing on which we are developing this theory, that when we reduce the grain size, the grain boundary area increases, and more number of grain boundaries, more hindrance to the movement of dislocation. That is the main fundamental behind reducing the grain size and increasing the strength of the material. So since macroscopic plastic deformation occurs by motion of dislocation, the ability of the metal to deform plastically depends on the ability of the dislocation to move. So the movement of dislocation is there, deformation is happening. Dislocations don't move, there is no deformation. So by reducing the hindrance to dislocation or the mobility, so basically we are stopping the movement of dislocation. That will in turn increase the tensile strength of the material. That will in turn increase the yield strength of the material, and that will in turn, we can say that the material has become more hard, it has strengthened and it has become more stronger. That is the thing which we are dealing here. And more number of load, like more stress, more load has to be applied for the material to further deform. So we know that when more load is needed, that means the material has become more stronger. So grain boundary are barriers to the slip. So we know that there is a slip mechanism, the slip plane is there, the dislocations are moving on a slip plane and they are going on, they are moving, but as soon as they are encountered with a grain boundary, they cannot move further and basically they will stop there, and there will be a barrier for the movement of the slip of the material, and slip will not happen. So dislocation regenerate at a very higher rate due to the grain boundary. So there is a grain boundary, the dislocations are coming and touching the grain boundary, and dislocations are coming and they are stopping. So again dislocations are coming and they are piling up at the grain boundary. That is the meaning of dislocation, pile up, and they will go on piling, and lot of force is needed again to move these dislocation from one grain to another grain. So finer the grain, smaller the grain size means more grain boundary and higher force is needed for deformation to happen. So dislocation, now let us see the scenario which is shown here in this figure. We have grain A and grain B and they are separated by a grain boundary, and the dislocation is moving. This is a sign of an edge dislocation. It is moving from grain A to grain B and we can see a slip plane is there, a grain boundary is there, and there is an angle at which the grains are oriented to each other. So the dislocation is passing and it is trying to pass into grain B from grain A, and then it encounters a grain boundary, and that is a barrier. It cannot pass. So the moment it is stopped at the grain boundary, that means it cannot move further, and there is a hindrance to the motion of dislocation, and more force, more load is needed for that dislocation to overcome and pass on and go to the grain B. So for higher grain boundary angles, which are the dislocation tend to pile up. So if the grain boundary angle is almost same, okay, if it is a smaller grain boundary, or we can see that it can easily pass on, but if the angle of misorientation of the grain boundary is pretty high, that means more number of dislocation will pile up at the particular grain boundary and it cannot move further. So this creates a larger stress concentration that generates new dislocation in the adjacent grains. So more number of dislocations are getting piled up there, and then they cannot move further and more load is needed. So smaller and finer grain, that is now here the notation D is given for the diameter of the grain. The material are harder. So we can assume that now as the grain size is decreasing, the grain boundary is increasing, and you will need more load and then to overcome the slip motion and to for the dislocation to move on to the next grain, lot of load is needed. So there is a Hall-Petch equation which actually tells us that if the diameter decreases, then the yield strength of the material increases. That is the relationship which is given by Hall-Petch equation. Here sigma O and Ky are the constant of the material. So each and every material will have their own constant, but here the D, that is the diameter of the grain, as we can see from this equation that it is proven once you reduce the grain size, the strength of the material increases, the yield strength of the material increases. But one will say, as we are reducing the grain size, what is the limit by which we can reduce the grain size? Can it go for infinity? Can it go for infinite number of cycles that you reduce the grain size and then the strength is increasing? No, that is not the case. At one point of time, the size of the grain will approach the size of dislocation. So once that happens, that it reaches around 10 nanometer or so, that means the dislocation has reached the size of the grain, or the grain has reached the size of the dislocation. One and the same thing, only one or two dislocation can accommodate there, and in such case what will happen is, if it is reduced to that much diameter, the grain size is reduced to that much of diameter that it is almost similar to the size of dislocation, then the pile up will not happen. Instead of that, grain boundary diffusion will happen and the material will deform. So it will create an opposite effect. So it will not go on for infinity. There is a limit at which the diameter will approach the diameter of the dislocation, and after that it will be adversely affecting the strength. The strength will decrease after that. So you have to keep that thing in mind, that it cannot go on for infinity. So let us move on to the second strategy of strengthening the material. This strategy is called as solid solution strengthening. So basically it is nothing but alloying. So we are alloying the material, we are strengthening the material by putting a external solid atom in the solvent, and then we are creating the material or making the material more stronger. So we are adding impurity atom. So impurity atoms that go into either substitutional or interstitial site, we have already seen this in an earlier video, that the point defects in that we are adding the impurity atom. That impurity atom will go on and sit in an interstitial site, or either it will substitute the host atom, and then basically what will happen is that will create some distortion in the material, that will create some stress, and when the dislocation is trying to move and it encounters these solid atoms, basically it will not able to move, and then more load is needed, more force is needed because of the stress which is localized in that particular area where we have these interstitial atom or these substitutional atom, and we need more force to overcome that, and then only the dislocation will move beyond these substitution and interstitial atom. So that is the thing here which we can see, that solid solution strengthening is happening because we are putting the impurity atom. So stress can produce a barrier to the dislocation motion, as I said, that is called as solid solution strengthening. Thus the alloy are stronger than pure metal. So solid solution strengthening or alloying, we can say that we are basically making an alloy of the material, and the alloy are generally much stronger than the pure material. So here one scenario we can see that impurity generates local stress at A and B. So there is a impurity atom which is there in a normal host atom place, and then the dislocation A and B are trying to move, but because local stress is there and there is a hindrance for the movement of dislocation, and in this point we can see that the stress is increasing, that we can say more load is needed and the material appears to be more stronger. One more scenario is there, the atom which is there, which is of a bigger size than the host atom, and again because of that we have some stress which is concentrated, and here C and D are one more type of dislocation which are there, and they will create some sort of tension there, some stress is there, and the movement of the dislocation is hindered because of the atom which is there, and that atom will produce some localized stress and the movement of dislocation will be hindered, or there will be an obstacle for the movement of dislocation, in turn increasing the stress of the material. The material appears to be much more stronger. So this is one more scenario when we are seeing that whenever there will be a dislocation, sort of edge dislocation, we can see the impurity atom will tend to sit around that edge dislocation, and it will create such sort of stress concentration around it. So this is a figure which shows that a stress concentration of dislocation, and then on the top side, the green part, we see that whenever we have dislocation and some atoms will be concentrated there like impurity atom, and then compression stress will be there on the top, and then the lower part will be in tension and so on. So small impurity atom tend to concentrate at the dislocation. So we know that at the dislocation area small impurity atom will concentrate, and because of that it will reduce the mobility of the dislocation. That means the dislocation becomes immobile, they cannot move because of these small impurity atom and the hindrance, and they create a hindrance for their movement. Basically it appears as if the material has become stronger. Similarly, if there is a bigger grain, if there is a bigger atom which is an impurity atom, then that bigger atom will try to fix in a place or near the dislocation in such a way that it will be concentrated at the lower side of the dislocation. So at the bottom side of the dislocation, here again it will create some sort of stress field, and it will create a hindrance to the movement of dislocation. Now let us move further and we'll see how solid solution strengthening will have an impact on the tensile strength and yield strength. We'll see that. So solid solution strengthening of copper. So here this is an example of copper, how the strength is affected when we are putting some nickel in copper. So it is an alloy of copper and nickel. So you are increasing the weight percent of nickel from left to right, from 0 to 50. As you are increasing the weight percent of nickel in copper, you are seeing that the tensile strength is increasing. So it was around 200 initially when it was pure copper, but you are adding nickel and it approaches almost double, that is 400 megapascals, and if around 50 weight percent of nickel will create around double the tensile strength as compared to the pure copper. Now let us see the yield strength. So yield strength is initially it is around 65 or so or 70 or so when it is a pure copper. The moment you are trying to add nickel, as you are going on adding nickel, around 50% of nickel will create the yield strength which is around 170 megapascals. Now this is an empirical relationship which shows that yield strength is related to the composition of the material. So as you are increasing the composition of the material, the yield strength is also increasing. So the bottom line is alloying increases the yield strength and it increases the tensile strength of the material. So let us summarize what we have studied here today. So as I said, there are 4 strategies by which we can strengthen the material. In today's video, we are only discussing 2 strategies. So the first one which we discussed is we reduce the grain size. As the grain size is reducing, the grain boundaries are increasing, more number of grain boundaries, more hindrance to the movement of dislocation, the material appears to be much more stronger. The second is solid solution strengthening. We all know that pure alloy is not much stronger and alloying will make that pure material more stronger. So solid solution strengthening is nothing but we are adding some impurity atom as in the interstitial side or in terms of the substitutional atom, and we are increasing the strength of the material by alloying them. If you understood what we have discussed today, you can like this video, you can subscribe to my channel, you can share this video with your colleague. If you have anything related to this video or an earlier video, you can write in the comment box about what you found out or what you want me to discuss more about in any engineering topics, and I'll be very happy to deal with that topic. Thanks for watching. All the best.